It all started with a man in his 60s, with nothing more than a small recipe and an unwavering dream. This was no ordinary man. This was Colonel Harland David Sanders, the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC. Born on September 9, 1890 in Henryville, Indiana, Sanders grew up in a poor family. His father died when he was just 5, leaving his mother to raise him and his siblings alone. It wasn't easy. As a child, Sanders had to take on the responsibility of cooking and caring for his siblings. He didn't know it then, but the kitchen would become his battleground for the rest of his life. By the time Sanders was 16, he had already worked several jobs, from farmhand to streetcar conductor to a railroad fireman. But he didn't stay long at any job. Failure and rejection followed him at every turn. "I was never really good at anything," he once said, "but I never gave up." His lack of formal education and failed ventures didn't discourage him. It only made him more determined. In 1930, Sanders opened his first restaurant in a small service station in Corbin, Kentucky. He served travelers fried chicken, but his restaurant wasn't doing well. Despite his passion for cooking and refined recipe, Sanders struggled to keep his restaurant open. His first true test came during the Great Depression, a time when people were losing jobs and businesses were failing left and right. His restaurant, just like his dreams, was on the verge of collapse. But Colonel Sanders didn't quit. Instead, he took his secret recipe for fried chicken and began to fine-tune it even more. This wasn't just any fried chicken. It was finger-lickin' good. The battle for success was about to get even tougher, but this time, Sanders had no intention of walking away. Sanders wasn't about to give up, but life had other plans. In the 1940s, after many failed attempts, Sanders sold his restaurant. He had nothing left, just his famous 11 herbs and spices and a handful of hope. What did he do next? He didn't throw in the towel. He hit the road. Imagine, a man in his 60s, wearing his signature white suit and black string tie, driving from town to town, knocking on restaurant doors, offering to sell his chicken recipe. "I'll share my secret recipe with you if you agree to pay me a royalty," he would say. He was rejected over 1,000 times. Yes, over 1,000 times. Restaurant after restaurant turned him down. They thought his fried chicken was nothing special. They didn't see what he saw. They didn't feel the passion and the magic that Sanders put into every piece of chicken. But Sanders kept going. His rejection didn't define him. Instead, it fueled his drive. It made him more determined than ever. He didn't care if people laughed at him or told him no. He knew what he had was special. One day, after over 1,000 rejections, he got a yes. That one yes came from Pete Harmon, a restaurant owner in Salt Lake City, Utah. Pete loved Sanders' chicken and agreed to pay him a royalty in exchange for using his recipe. The first KFC franchise opened in 1952. The magic had begun, and from there, the floodgates opened. More and more restaurants adopted Sanders' secret recipe. The Kentucky Fried Chicken franchise spread across the United States like wildfire. But this success didn't come easily. Sanders had to fight tooth and nail to build his brand. And there was still so much at stake. The pressure was overwhelming. In 1964, after decades of struggle, Sanders sold the Kentucky Fried Chicken Corporation to a group of investors for $2 million. A fortune in the 1960s. But he didn't walk away from KFC. No, instead he took on the role of brand ambassador and remained the face of KFC, traveling around the world, promoting his recipe. At that point, Sanders was 74 years old, and he had become one of the most recognizable faces in the world. Today, KFC is one of the most successful fast food chains in the world, with over 24,000 locations in more than 145 countries. But Colonel Sanders' journey wasn't just about creating a global empire. It was about perseverance, faith in one's dreams, and the refusal to give up, no matter how hard life gets. Colonel Sanders teaches us a lesson in resilience. His life reminds us that age doesn't define success. Failure doesn't define us, and the struggles we face today can become the foundation for a legacy tomorrow. The Colonel didn't just create fried chicken. He created a legacy that continues to inspire dreamers, doers, and entrepreneurs. Colonel Sanders's life wasn't easy. He faced financial ruin, rejection, and humiliation at almost every turn. But he had something the world couldn't take away: a dream. And that dream changed the world. Colonel Sanders' story isn't just about fried chicken. It's about perseverance. It's about fighting when the world tells you to quit. It's about believing in your vision when no one else does. His story reminds us that age is not a limitation. Failure is just a stepping stone, and dreams do come true even after rejection, hardship, and failure. If you're facing a tough time right now, remember this: don't quit. Keep moving forward. Your yes could be just around the corner. Subscribe for more inspiring stories and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Because like Colonel Sanders, you too can build your empire. If you don't give up, write your story. Start now. The world is waiting for you.